one of us would be happy to talk to you about that. 1-800-639-5057 is the number. And John, I don't know if you have any thank yous to say yet, but...
Yeah, we do. We have 4 calls now, from Gloria Cooper, from Phyllis Smith of Amherst. Hey, help me with that one.
I can't see it.
And this one's, I can give you the credit card number, but I don't have the name yet. So we have 4 calls. Consider a basic pledge if the levels that we've suggested are too high for you. For $35, we'll send you Prime Time, which is our monthly program guide, which is sitting around here somewhere. But that lists all the programs, including if you had it tonight. If you've never contributed, if you're not a member, you would have known. You'd get the guide that tell you about NOVA, Rescuing Baby Whales. An extraordinary program that NOVA has brought back and made new again with more footage on the recent whale beachings off Cape Cod. And you would get Prime Time. You also get a member card that offers discounts. The important thing is you do what you can. We have 5 people who've called. That brings us to 35 people that have supported McNeil Lair. That's a very small number, but we know it reaches more people than that. But you can make a big difference. You can join the folks, each piece, putting it together. Behind me, maybe you see the Channel 57 logo, and that are put together in pieces of puzzles, because we're trying to express the way 57 is put together. It's folks like that person who's calling right there, that person right there, and another person calling right here, piecing it together and adding it and making it the whole. There's a role for you. You need to lend your piece and do what you can to make it work. Nobody does the whole piece, but we're pulling together, adding them up, we can complete the picture. You can do that by calling 1-800-639-5057. We're going to go back to McNeil Lair in a minute. We hope you'll think about it. If you haven't called, you can call right now. Our volunteers will be here as we go into the program. Thank you.
If you prefer to write, mail your piece of the puzzle to Channel 57.
See this, we have an actual inflatable whale here in the studio that Dave brought along with us. What do you use this for?
It's actually Kubas from the International Wildlife Coalition here, right.
Why don't we move over this way? People can see it a little bit as we talk.
Okay, they've been talking a great deal about the volunteers that are necessary to rescue whales, and it's pilot whale strandings in particular, and the International Wildlife Coalition is responsible for training volunteers to rescue the pilot whales that are stranded on the Cape Cod beaches. And this is our instrument for doing training. She's a life-size pilot whale, a little bit lighter than the real thing, but basically she's used to show people the process that we use to go about rescuing whales.
Yeah, we had quite an interesting time trying to fit it in here. So it's about 18 feet long, so it's actually life-size?
She's life-size. Normally that animal would probably be 1,500 to 1,600 pounds.
And this one weighs about 50 because we were able to lift it. Now, what kind of training would you do with people about how to handle the whales?
Well, the first thing we do is tell them what not to do. You're really in a dangerous situation when you're dealing with live whales that are on a beach. They're quite anxious about the situation, obviously. They're in a life-and-death situation, and you have to be very concerned about your own personal safety. So the first thing we do is tell people what not to do with whales, and that's very important. After that, we start telling them what to do to be careful about the whale. It's very easy to injure one of these animals just by grabbing it the wrong way. Certainly the eye is in a very vulnerable position, so we go through a whole list of ways that they have to worry about treating the whale. And then we get into actually the nuts and bolts of how you put one in a stretcher, how you get a stretcher under a whale, etc.
I would imagine you want to stay away from the tail, because you could see in the program how that was flopping around. It must have a lot of force.
Oh, sure. You can get launched across the beach if you're close to one of those tails, and that would be if you were lucky. If you got the full impact, you could be very, very seriously injured.
So were those volunteers from your group in this actual program? Are you seeing people on the screen that are people you've worked with?
Sure. Not only that we've worked with that are part of the International Wildlife Coalition, but part of the different teams that we've trained. One of the nice things about it, as you mentioned about the large number of volunteers it takes to run a station like this, it's the same thing with the whale rescue. There's a lot of other groups, Plymouth Marine Mammal Research Center, the Bridgewater State College, Mass Maritime.
That means we got to pledge over $125.
Oh, good.
Not sure what's going on. Well, anyway, the phones are very busy. I hope you'll take this opportunity and call and support nature programming here on Channel 57. As you can see, we've got a gentleman here who's got a whale of a knowledge base about whales. Sorry about that. And we'll be talking a little bit more with Dave in just a few minutes. 1-800-639-5057. Right now, it's a pleasure to introduce another special guest, Eustace Walcott from Mass Mutual, one of our Board of Tribune members.
Thank you, Steve. Good evening, folks. I'm relatively new to the Pioneer Valley area, but I can tell you, you're all very lucky to have a resource like WGBY here. I came from the eastern part of the state, and did some work with our sister station, WGBH. But my kids also grew up with public television. So you might ask, why am I here on a cold winter's night, on a Monday night when I'd love to be sitting in my easy chair? It's because it's WGBY, it's public television. And it's a great outfit, it really is. And I'm happy to be here in the western part of the state, and I'm happy to be associated with WGBY. I'm on the member of the Board of Tribunes, and I'm happy to give my time to be here. We've got a great program here tonight, it really is. One of the things you can do to help us is provide support. You know, we have to buy these programs. A lot of people, I think, don't understand how public television works, but it's a dollars and cents type of thing, and we need your support in order to continue to bring you these fine programs. One thing you could do is consider a gift of $75. If you were willing to pledge that, we could send you a book called The Whale Watcher's Handbook. Now, $75 is not very much when you consider that it's slightly more than $1 a week, less than $2 a week. Think about it. But do continue to support this station. Do help us bring you the programs that you like to see. Steve?
Thank you, Eustace. You know, your call here at Channel 57 is just like putting together a piece of a big puzzle. We have 23,000 members throughout this region. Each of one is like a piece of a big puzzle. And if we're missing a single piece, the picture isn't complete. What I'd like for you to consider right now is adding your piece to that puzzle, making sure that the picture here at WGBY is whole. That's why it takes thousands of people to make this station whole. Your support, whether it's $45 or $120 or $250 or whatever you believe is something that you can do here for the station, your call to 1-800-639-5057 is very important. Again, at the $45 level, we have a great way of saying thanks to those of you who support nature programming here on Channel 57. We'll give you the opportunity to adopt your own whale. Also, if you do pledge at the $120 level, we can send to you both the adopted whale, well, not really the whale, just the information packet about it, but also a video cassette of this programming, Rescuing Baby Whales, produced by our sister station, WGBH. So if this is the sort of thing that you'd like to keep in your video collection to share with your children or perhaps your grandkids or with other people that have an interest in nature, this would be a great addition to that. You know, this station does more programs about nature and helping people understand their world than any other television service out there. If you believe that sharing our historical and our natural history resources and making people understand better the state of the ecological system in the world and how our natural environment is working or not working, as the case may be, this is the station that needs your support. 1-800-639-5057. We had a flurry of calls just a few moments ago. Now it's gotten relatively quiet. We're going to be going back to the show very, very quickly. But as you can see, the whale behind me here is still here with us. We're going to talk a little bit more with Dave Wiley from the International Wildlife Coalition when we come back. The important thing, though, is that we hear from you, hear your pledge of support. 1-800-639-5057 is the number to call. We've heard from a number of people this evening who have said this is the sort of programming that they'd like to support, that they'd like to invest in and make sure it continues. We'd love to hear from you if you can make that pledge of support. 1-800-639-5057 is the number to call. Thanks for your support. We appreciate it.
If you prefer to write, mail your piece of the puzzle to...
Whale seemed to be in trouble, and they cut him free, and they thought perhaps he was going to leave and never come back, and all of a sudden he showed up again, showing that even in nature there really are some wonderful, happy endings. We're here live in the studios at Channel 57, hoping that you'll give us your support here for the terrific science and nature programs that we bring to you every single week. The phone number, 1-800-639-5057. That's the number to call with your pledge of support. I would like to remind you, if you would like a videotape of tonight's program, Rescuing Baby Whales,
I'm actually struck by the similarities.
Here at Channel 57, our job in this effort is to educate people and tell them
$35, that's our... Do it, or am I going to do it tomorrow? Do it tonight. Do it tonight. We need you now. Think of it, for $35, that's our basic pledge level, you get Primetime magazine. We need you to continue to help support us. It's 1-800-639-5057. Please give, and give soon. We have a number of different levels. Actually, the videotape that Steve didn't show you is this evening's videotape, Saving Baby Whales. You get that with a donation or a pledge of $120. Think about it. You could have it, watch it anytime you wanted to. Of course, if you'd prefer, a $75 pledge brings you the Whale Watcher's Handbook that I showed you before that has Dave's photographs in it.
with your pledge of support. Thank you very much.
Rhode Island is a state wed to the open seas, and any sailor can take this 18th century advice. Always go straight forward, and if you meet the devil, cut him in two and go between the pieces. And if anyone imposes on you, tell him to whistle against a northwester. Like the air and the sky and the clouds and the sunlight, no one can lay exclusive claim to the White Mountains, wrote naturalist Julius Ward. This is a place with a power and a vengeance that humbles all who experience it. After walking in these mountains, poet Lucy Larcom penned the following. One world, there is no separation, the same earth above and below. Up here is the river's cloud cradle. Down there is its fullness and flow. If a river drops 10 feet in elevation, harness its power and put it to work. An old adage that rang true in every New England mill town. Manchester rose to become the most industrious of all, and its stature reigns over New Hampshire today. You must come to this place more than once if you expect to have your mind filled with anything more than the perception of a brilliant cloud, Nathan Hale said in surveying this land. No country is well known until after a second visit. We return with minds furnished with new powers for observation. Fresh objects start up, and new beauties disclose themselves. You must come to this place more than once. Words spoken from the White Mountains that echo throughout this land called New England.
I know you've been flipping through the channels and you happen to stop on this one because of the beautiful scenery. We caught you and we caught your eye, and we hope so because it's a tremendous program over in New England. It's called views from an airplane, helicopter going over all of the states of New England. So you've only seen just a couple so far, and we have yet to come up. Massachusetts, and Springfield is pictured, as well as the Berkshires and many other areas of Massachusetts, including probably some favorites out in eastern Mass. So stay tuned. We are here taking a short break at Channel 57 to try to convert your viewership into membership, and hoping that you will dial 1-800-639-5057 and pledge your support to this station that brings you over New England and brings you all of these beautiful scenes, from the fall foliage up in New Hampshire to the winter scenes. You saw the skiers there, and to the summer scenes. And you can see this over and over again because we have a videotape to offer you as a thank you gift for your pledge of support at the $75 level. And this videotape includes all of this scenery you've seen so far, as well as some terrific ones coming up from the other New England states, without me talking to you and without any of us talking to you here in the studio. So remember, a pledge of $75, and we'd love to send this videotape to you as a way of saying thank you for pledging your support to this station. We've got some terrific phone operators waiting here in the studio from the Baha'i community of Pioneer Valley, and they've been here all night patiently waiting and taken several calls, many calls. In fact, Steve, I don't know how much we've done so far. Can you see there? About $1,500, $1,800?
$1,750.
$1,750 we've done so far this evening. We do have a $4,000 goal this evening, and I know we can do it with Over New England because it's such a terrific program. I know you're enjoying yourselves, and you will completely enjoy yourselves coming up. So stay tuned, stay with us, and think about calling using that number there you see on your screen, 1-800-639-5057. Bring your charge cards to the phone, and perhaps you'd be interested in pledging $75 for this videotape. I'm in the studio this evening with Steve Bass, our new general manager. Steve?
Well, thank you, Katie. You know, I'm a brand new New England resident. I've just moved up here, and this program, which I've had the opportunity to see a couple of times now, has been a wonderful way for me to get acquainted with the rich diversity of New England. Now, sure, like everybody else, I've been over on Cape Cod and I've been to the beach, but I really hadn't had an opportunity to spend much time, say, up in Maine or New Hampshire or Vermont. And now that I'm here, I've been spending some time in the Berkshires. I've been down in northern Connecticut. I've been spending time in Springfield. I've been up to Northampton, to Greenfield, Hatfield, all of the communities around our area, and I'm just starting to learn what a special, special place it is. And this program has been a wonderful introduction for me. I don't have New England roots. The only roots or ties I have to New England was that when I was a very small child, I spent some time in Waterbury, Connecticut, which I think there's a shot of in the Connecticut segment, which you're going to see in just a few moments. But this has been a terrific project for Channel 57 to work on, because it's been one way that we can be involved in capturing the rich diversity of this region and bring it to you for you. Without commercial interruption, without too many breaks in it, but we've got those videotapes. If you'd like to have a video of this program, a $75 pledge, we'd be happy to send one to you. For a $120 pledge, we'll be happy to send 2 of them to you. It'd be a sort of thing that you can show, you can save one for home and keep it for yourself. Share with a friend. I mean, you might know people from around the country who have visited New England, maybe have moved away, would love to be able to share this. Perhaps you've got a parent or a brother or sister or a friend that has moved, say, south, where the weather's a little bit warmer this time of year, that might miss New England. I was talking to one of the guys here on the crew who was saying that he sent it to his grandparents who are down in Florida now. They used to live in New England, really miss it. And it really brought back a lot of wonderful memories about the terrific times that they spent living here in this great region of New England. And particularly those of us who are fortunate enough to live in Massachusetts or in northern Connecticut or in the Berkshires, you're going to see some fabulous scenes of those areas coming up right after this break, when we're going to take a look at Massachusetts, Connecticut, and of course Vermont. Those are the 3 states we have not yet seen. But the important thing that we need to do is to hear from you at 1-800-639-5057. Pledge your support to this station. We have a goal tonight of about $4,000. If we can meet that goal or even exceed it, it's going to help us produce and acquire more great programs like Over New England, programs like Nova, which you may have been enjoying this evening, which is the #1 choice science series and documentary series on television, programs like Frontline, programs like the McNeil Air News Hour, and of course our lineup of terrific children's programs that are designed to enrich and enlighten your children, grandchildren, and the kids that live around in this community. That's what we're here to do. That's all we're here to do. We're not here to sell you soap or detergents or canned goods. Our job here is to bring to you enlightening and educational programming that also entertains, that has cultural and historical and other values that you deem important. If you appreciate this type of programming, if you'd like to help this station continue to provide these kind of programs and aspire to even greater heights, I hope you go to the phone, 1-800-639-5057. Katie?
Steve, this is very exciting. We've got a number of our phone operators from the Baha'i community on the phones right now taking pledges of support for Channel 57 and for programs like Over New England. If you've been enjoying it, perhaps you just tuned in right before we came on, stay tuned. It's spectacular. Vermont is wonderful. Massachusetts, of course, is terrific, and so is Connecticut. Those are coming up for you to see. And I do have a special opportunity for you to pledge at the $100 level of support. If you watched us last weekend, we showed a program called Gift of Acadia, and perhaps you've been to Acadia National Park up in Maine, and maybe you visit each and every summer. I had a few callers last weekend who told us that. We've got a videotape of that program, as well as the Over New England videotape as a thank you gift, both videotapes as a thank you gift for the $100 pledge, the $100 level of support for this station, your public television station, Channel 57. And those are two tremendously beautiful programs for your video collection at home. And if you're a New Englander, if you've been here all your life, you know about Acadia, and perhaps I'm sure you've visited or have always longed to visit. This way you can do that with that videotape at the $100 level. And our operators here are well-versed in all the different thank you gifts that we have here, so just give us a call at 1-800-639-5057 and let us know that you would like to pledge your support to Channel 57. I just wanted to tell one brief story about a Murrow Society member who called me and said that she had planned a party one evening to have some friends over, and Over New England was playing, and she sort of was hesitant to tell me, but that she muted the TV, and she didn't want to hear us, and she didn't want to hear anything else because they wanted to guess at where the scenes were coming from. They all took turns guessing. Was it New Hampshire? Where in New Hampshire it was? Where in Rhode Island the scene was coming from? What mansion it was in Newport? And she said they had a terrific time watching it. So it's not only something to enjoy, but it's something you can have fun with, and just as many of our programs here at the station do for you. I'm sure this is not the only program you've enjoyed on Channel 57. Think about all those programs. Steve has mentioned just a whole list of them just before, and maybe some of those are your favorites. If they are, we'd like to hear from you at 1-800-639-5057. I believe Steve has another way of saying thank you this evening.
Perfect book that I just picked up. It's the Over New England Coffee Table book, and it's got some wonderful photos in it. One of these photographs that I've got right here next to my thumb is a picture of Hatfield, the town of Hatfield from the air, which looks just wonderful. Marvelous, pristine New England town right along the river. And if you're from Hatfield, I'm sure you'd love to have this in your collection. It also has some pictures from the Amherst area. It's got a number of other terrific photographs in it. It's big, beautiful book, would look great on the coffee table, terrific reading, some wonderful text in it. That's available for a $150 pledge. We'd be happy to send that to you. You know, the important thing here is not the thank you gifts, so as much as we do talk about them a little bit, just to entice you to go to your phone. The important thing is that your pledges of support are like individual pieces of the puzzle that go together to make the picture of this station complete. And without every single piece, we'd be missing an important component of that picture. 23,000 people contribute to this station each year, and each one of them plays an extremely important role in not just allowing us to produce and acquire programs like this, but allowing us to fulfill our greater mission of enlightening, educating, and entertaining all the citizens of this region, regardless of their ability to pay for it, regardless of their educational level, regardless of who they are or what they do. We're here to serve them. And perhaps this is the sort of programming that you'd like to share and would like to, the sort of experience you'd like to share with your friends or family or the community in general. I urge you then to call that number, 1-800-639-5057. Perhaps you're a current member of the station, and this is a program that has captivated your attention this evening. Perhaps you would like to call in an additional gift, perhaps in the amount of $25 or $50, because you found this program to be of value. We'd love to hear from you. If you can't give a contribution at the $75 or $100 level, we do have a basic membership at $35. We'll send you the primetime program guide. We'd love to hear from you. all of those pieces of the puzzle come together to make the picture complete. The important thing is to have your phone calls here at Channel 57 WGBY, 1-800-639-5057. I heard a marvelous story earlier this evening about a woman that keeps a jar next to her television set, and every time she enjoys a program on Channel 57, she puts some money in the jar, and at the end of the month she sends a check in the amount that's been in there. And some months it's $20, and some months it's a lot more, and some months it's a little bit less. But it's a great way of saying, if this is programming that's been worth your time, isn't it worth a financial support? Isn't it worth your financial contribution right now? 1-800-639-5057. We have operators standing by. Katie?
Thanks, Steve. I do have a number of thank yous to say to Mark Barberi in Broadbrook, Connecticut, to the Deeney family in Wilbraham, to Clifford Lagacy in Long Meadow. We have a Westfield family, the Hogan family, a family from Pelham, and also Carol Phelps from West Springfield, as well as a number of people who have also called in and are on the phone at the moment. And I did notice as I was looking through that the interest is in this videotape. And this is a video we are sending as a way of saying thank you for your pledge of support at the $75 level. This is the program you're viewing this evening that you will be seeing. We're going back to in just a minute. And it contains none of our pledge breaks, but it contains all of the beautiful scenes that you've seen so far and will be seeing in the next minute. So at the pledge of $75, we have this terrific Over New England videotape. But at the $120 level, we've got 2 videotapes to send your way as a way of saying thank you. And I think that's a wonderful way to say thank you maybe to a friend or to a family member who used to live in New England, who lives in New England now, or perhaps is away from New England for a little while. My brother-in-law is in Venezuela for quite some time, and I sent him a videotape of Over New England so he could share it with some of the people that he's working with down there that have never visited New England, and they have loved it. So it's something to think about. Pledge of $75 to Channel 57 that brings you this kind of quality programs, this kind of beautiful scenes. 1-800-639-5057 is the number. I'd like to thank all of you who have called, and we'll still be here as we go into the break. So take a moment now to call.
If you prefer to write, mail your piece of the puzzle to Channel 57, 40...